Hello, beloveds. Welcome to Morning of the Rose. I am Reverend Kirstin Hanson, and this week we are talking about the light and what that means in its totality, and I'm relating it to my near-death experience, my last one. So welcome to Morning of the Dove. This is a daily consecration, a daily anchoring and a returning us to eternal love, the love of the divine presence. And it's an opportunity for you to lean into devotion by embracing the sacred pause. That stillness, that quietness, and we're going to go into that even deeper today, the importance of the quietness and the importance of the stillness, and actually the importance of how that's going to impact the new world. So, as we begin and move forward today, I'm going to invite you where we left off yesterday was just a very brief moment. I'm going to ask you to place your hand on your heart. See, our heart is the cosmic gateway. It is the holy gateway, the place where the divine, the holy, God, the universe connects into us, into our own divinity, and they source each other. Our heart is the channel. It is the whole channel. When I used to teach intuition, I would teach that. I would teach people how to move out of their third eye and into intuition through the heart, and it's much different, much more audible, clearer, higher vibrational understanding and knowingness. So place your hand on your heart and allow yourself to feel your natural breath. What does the feeling of your natural breath feel like? I like to rock because for me, the holy love, the love of the divine, the love of the universe, that unconditional love that is beyond human comprehension. It's a love that feels like an ocean. You're just swaying back and forth. It like rocks you. It rocks you. That movement, feel that movement. And as you breathe, become aware of this light, this luminescent, effervescent light that is brighter than human light, than earth light. So in my accident, I left. I was hit, didn't see it coming. The person the police was chasing hit me. I was trying to get out of the way of the chase, and they didn't have their lights on, and they went to where I was pulling off. And I woke up. And it's exactly like what you see in the movies. It's like the ringing and disorientation, and the left side of my head had hit my window. It's funny, there's chimes ringing in my background, and we always say I teach classes sometimes here, and those chimes go off when we get really deep confirmation from the universe, from spirit, from source, from God, from the angels, whatever it is you believe in. But there's always my confirmation of the yes. So I was hit, and the left side of my head hit that window. Now, how I woke up, I don't know. I do know that in those few moments I was able to get out of the car. All I wanted was my phone and my computer bag. And it was evening, it was 11:30 at night on Thanksgiving night. And there was this old man that was walking in the neighborhood, and I have to tell you, there was nobody out. It's a quiet neighborhood. And yet he was out, and I swear he was an angel. And he said some things to me. He sat me down and he sat on the curb and he said some things to me. As a matter of fact, he told me that the police were shooting because there was a whole bunch of stuff that went down with the police that night that shouldn't have happened. There was a lot of injustices that I experienced that night from the police. However, that's not the point of this story. And went to the hospital. And when I went into this CT scan, I passed out and I left again. And I was taken. And they worked on my brain and I screamed and I screamed and I screamed. And I knew the people that I saw, what I saw, it wasn't what they really looked like, but I think they knew if I saw what it was, I would have been scared. And they did something, and the next thing I knew, I woke up in the CT scan and they said, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. And they sent me home. Now, I had a traumatic brain injury. I did. I was diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury. I couldn't see. I was blinded by the light. I wore glasses. They were so dark and so black. I wore them for so long, for many months. And I laid in bed because also my body was injured from the left, my whole left side was almost paralyzed. And they sent me home. And that next morning, messages started coming in. Very clear. Everything you think you know is wrong. Pack up all your stuff. You'll never teach that again. At that time, I was teaching shamanism. I was teaching multicultural medicine wheels because I do believe in honoring those sacred teachings that don't want white people to teach them. And I'm willing to be okay with that because I do believe in honoring with reverence belief structures and requests. So I packed up everything. They told me to get rid of all my crystals. I was a rock hounder. I had more crystals than I knew what to do with. They told me to pack up everything. I'll never teach it again. Never. I taught everything. I taught everything. I taught sacred geometry. I taught shamanism. I taught Reiki. I taught everything. Taught intuition, psychic work. I'm a really good psychic and medium. And I sat in what I call the light for at least 90 days, and the quantum downloaded. It just kept downloading science, giving me science, giving me science, giving me science. And I started confirming it, and I started seeing it was actually verified. It was verifiable information. They were giving me the exact words. They were telling me how our DNA works, how all of it works. And I got really clear that my vibrational field is the only thing that matters. And the directive they gave me, and when I say they, I don't know who they is. It's just the consciousness. It's consciousness. It's just pure consciousness. What was very true for me. Now, you also need to know I study out of Agape, which teaches non-dual. It teaches wholeness. And it is all non-dual. And most of what we are teaching is teaching polarity, which will keep us as a very dense humanity. So why am I talking about the light here in Morning of the Dove? Because humanity and Earth herself depends on your willingness to move beyond polarity and the old teachings. So fast forward 4 years later, I sit in the future. I sit in the future and work with the teams that want us to anchor in the new world. And it requires that we move into non-duality as fast as possible. And non-duality is a frequency. You can seek to understand it through knowledge, but anyone who understands wisdom herself understands she fell to lower vibrations because she was dependent on knowledge. Wisdom is a deep inner knowing that has no words to it. So our job is to do our inner work so that everything that holds us from that aspect of us falls away. So we come into direct alignment with the true vibration of what I call the light. I just don't know what else to call it. There's no word for it. It's indescribable. It's ineffable. It is indescribable. Rumi speaks of this. There are no words to describe the truth of this place. But it is what humanity is being asked now. So what I am doing as we are speaking is emanating a vibrational tone that comes from the heart. Comes from the heart. I remember somebody wanted to do a healing on me and they put their hands on me and they wanted to balance my chakras, and I started screaming. I was like, do not touch anything in my body. Because I got very clear that no energy healer was to touch my body, in particular my brain, ever again, and that I would be shown by what I call God, but God is not a man in the sky. I will be shown how to heal from the light, and I will be able to show others. So I did my own work, and this person, I allowed them to touch my chakras, and my chakras don't have colors anymore. I don't have chakras. I am the light. And that is the truth of you too, as our DNA begins to shift. This is where we're going. So this is an invitation this week to really contemplate. What is your study? What is your way that you are going to follow? What is it going to be? And I'm going to begin to ask you to even challenge what you even believe in your spiritual studies, whether it be tarot or intuitive work or psychic work or any of that, because there is a new reality even within that. And we are being escalated very fast. So breathe in, beloveds, knowing that every inhale and every exhale is that of divine love. Our ancestors knew this. And this has to do with the quietness that we must have inside of ourselves. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. The quietness inside of ourselves. This is how we amplify the light. This is moving us into beingness rather than doingness. And this is how we eradicate injustice. It sounds very passive, but it's actually very active. So, beloveds, I end here with this feeling, this emanation, this expression of love for you, so that you know that you are of the holiest, highest, most loved preciousness. If you could see the truth of who you are through the eyes that I see, you would cry. That's how beautiful you are, beloved. And you are being called to go deep enough so you can find that within you. Love you, beloveds.